presentation. A presentation is something, an event or an occasion that is pre-planned. A structured format is a presentation, which is totally different from public speaking. Now don't get yourself confused. Presentation skills and public speaking skills are different. Different with the way one is structured and the other is not structured. Presentation can be, in a specific agenda, specific objective, specific target audience. Public speaking is impromptu. Public speaking could also mean that it is planned, but it is planned for a huge setup of audience. If you want to know more on public speaking too, you can enroll for another course on gyan.com on public speaking skills. Let's get back to presentation. What is a presentation? A presentation is a one-way communication. What's in it for me? A two-way process. This is a very easiest abbreviation one uses in a presentation. WIIFM. What's in it for me? But we always think from the audience perspective. Even the speaker needs to think about what's in it for me? Why am I here? What am I going to talk about? So let's explore this. Point number one in what's in it for me, a two-way process, is the title or the topic you're going to talk about. Titles or topics are that first impression about your talk. The way you present yourself is a different first impression, but what you talk is also a first impression. Your title has to be very catchy, your title has to be very creative, and that creativity should flow from your way and your style of presenting. Now, the way I kept my topic name, what's in it for me? A two-way process, right? So this is the way you can bring in your blend of thoughts and creativity in the titles. Chapter 3. Structure of a presentation. Before we explore the structure of a presentation, let me tell you a quick incident which recently happened. I was at a wedding, and as we were all partying, a gentleman was suddenly told to stand up and speak a few words about the bride-to-be. So this gentleman stood and he stood at the center and went blank. He started sweating, was fumbling with words, confused about how should he begin, how should he take on the topic, and how should he end, or how should he compliment the bride-to-be. That quickly struck my mind, this is exactly what happens in a presentation, when the presentation has no structure defined at all. What is the structure of a presentation? A format or a flow of event is nothing but the structure of your presentation. Content is the message. First, get the word right. It's not content, it's content. Content is being happy and relaxed, and content is the data, the information, the knowledge that you're gathering. In a presentation, everything revolves around the content, the data, the words that you're using. So what happens when you use these words? Don't you want to have a structured format to these words? That's the first point today, message and objectives. Your content has to be the message that we have learned in the earlier chapter 2. Your message and your objective has to be in synergy to each other. If you want a particular message to reach your audience, say for example, you're working on a technical project, what would be your message? What would be the words you'll be using? Technical terminologies, right? But what if at the same time I'm working on a presentation for kids? My words will be simpler. So when we talk about presentation, who are we talking about? It's you. And how do people listen to you? Through your voice. Yes, voice. Point number one, the most important contender in your presentation. How should be your voice then? Soft, smooth, loud, harsh? Oh God, I don't know. Right? So how do you practice your voice? Make sure that you use your voice in a way that connects with people easily. You shouldn't sound too harsh, too soft, or too hard on people. You can inflect your voice accordingly, which we will learn in voice modulation, but voice is something that should be audible enough to a person sitting close by or a person sitting on the 50th floor, 50th row in this room. The question and answer session, Q&A, a so-called short form. Not necessarily there is a Q&A in every presentation that closes. Few presentations just end with the closing, and that's the close of the presentation. But when it comes to a question and answer session, that gives more scope for the speaker to understand whether his message has reached the right way to the audience. A Q&A makes sure that the audience comes up with their query, comes up with their questions and gets them resolved there and there. How to open a Q&A session? After a fantastic close of your presentation, what's the first question that you may ask your audience? Any questions? Please, let's not be so cruel with our audience. We would of course welcome them. So on this note, I close my presentation skills chapter today, and I'm sure you are all excited to ask me questions.